Hello, people. How are you doing? Once again, my name is ML Gerba. I'm the lead consultant of Mariam Legal Consult. After the first video, I've received several messages requesting for discussion on some topical issues. Presently, we have about four. Two are related on tenancy. One is asking how can he eject his tenant who has refused to vacate the property, saying that he went to the property and removed the window and some other features in the property, and now the tenant is on his head trying to threatening him to recover some damages for trespass, and he's asking how can he be a trespasser in his own property, how can they punish him for removing windows or fixtures in his own property. The second question request is also on tenancy, but this time around from a tenant who is asking that who said that his landlord issued him notices and he has vacated the property, and now the landlord still wants him to pay for the period of those notices. The landlord issued 6 month notice. At the expiration of the 6 month notice, he issued 7 days notice. But before the expiration of the 7 days notice, he vacated the property, and now the landlord still wants him to pay for the 6 months that the the period of the notice, and is confused on what to do. I said, okay, fine. Since these two topics are related, I will just answer them together and I'll try to summarize. There is process for to eject a tenant in a property in your house. The fact that you are the owner of the house does not mean that you can eject a tenant forcefully, or you can go and remove fixtures of the property. The If you do that, you will be a trespasser even in your own property, because a trespasser is somebody who enters another person's property land. If it's trespass to land, enters another person's property the without the consent of the person who is in charge of that property, meaning without the consent of the tenant who is in possession of that property, who is using the property as at that time. So, if you want to enter that property, you have to inform your tenant that okay, you want to enter into a property and all that. Now, since your intention is to eject the tenant, the procedure is very simple. You issue the first notice, which is 6 month notice if the tenant is a yearly tenant. If it's a monthly tenant, for example, you issue 1 month notice. We call that first notice a quit notice. Then after that, you issue the second notice, which we call owner's intention to recover possession. That one is 7 days. It is uniform, irrespective of whether the tenant is yearly tenant or monthly tenant or 6 month tenant, is uniform. After that, then you can sue the tenant. You can take the tenant to court to apply for what we call writ of possession. That is to seek the power of the court to eject that tenant. So the court will remove that tenant from the property and hand over your property to you. That is the procedure. Meanwhile, all the period of that notice, if for example you issued 6 month notice, even if the tenant spent 1 year after the 6 month notice, or even spent just exactly that 6 months, the tenant will have to pay for the period of the notice. In tenancy, even if it is for one day you stay above the period you paid for as a tenant, you have to pay. You will pay because it is not for free. Law protects everybody's interest, not only the interest of the tenant. The law will protect the interest of the tenant to make sure that the tenant is not harassed. The tenant's integrity and his family integrity is protected, and the law will also protect the landlord to make sure that his sweat is not in vain. So for all the period of notices issued to you as a tenant, you will pay. And even if you refuse to vacate after the expiration of the notice and they took you to court, for all the period you stay during the court proceeding, even if it is 1 year, you will still pay. That is what we call men's profit. Men's profit means the money accrued on a tenant or in a tenancy after the termination of a tenancy. When the tenancy has been terminated, meaning when the tenancy has ended, all the money accrued that time for the period that the tenant is still in the property is called men's profit. So the landlord will claim the money you are owing him as a tenant, that is rent, and he will still claim men's profit, and the court will force you to pay all those money and also force you to vacate the property. So it is advisable that once your landlord issues you quit notice and you don't intend to stay in that property again, please just leave in peace and look for another house. Or you can plead with your landlord so that you pay the landlord's rent and everybody will live in peace. If you have any further clarification you want, kindly do that in the comment section, or you send a direct message through our WhatsApp. And don't forget to follow us on all our handles, social media handles. On Facebook, the name is Mariam Legal Consults on Facebook. Then on YouTube, it is Mariam Legal as one word. On TikTok, Mariam Legal. On YouTube, Mariam Legal. On Facebook, Mariam Legal Consult. On Snapchat, on Instagram, and also TikTok, it is Mariam Legal 23. So, anyway, you will see everything on your screen. So, kindly follow, like, click on notification button, subscribe, so that you can have immediate notice regarding any new video we are dropping, and also follow us, and most importantly, kindly share so that it will benefit others. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next time. My name is ML Garba.